Jake Martinez walked up the stairs to his small apartment. His work boots made heavy sounds on the metal steps. Oil and grease covered his hands from fixing starships all day. The war was over, but there was still so much work to do. 3 months ago, the aliens called the Zarathi had tried to take over Earth and all the human colonies. They failed. Humans fought hard and won. But many cities were destroyed. Many people died. Everyone who lived through the war had to work extra hours to rebuild everything. Jake opened his apartment door. He expected to see his empty living room with the old couch and broken television. Instead, he saw a woman sitting on his couch. She was not human. Her skin was light blue like the sky on a clear day. Her hair was silver and fell down to her shoulders. Her eyes were purple like flowers. She wore a white robe that covered her from neck to feet. She sat very straight and looked at him with calm eyes. Jake stopped in the doorway. His heart beat fast. Was this another attack? Was she an enemy? The woman stood up. She was tall, almost as tall as Jake. She spoke in clear English, but with an accent he had never heard before. "Hello, Jake Martinez. My name is Kira. I am your assigned companion." Jake remembered the letters from the government. All citizens would get a companion to help with stress from the war. The letters said the companions were a gift from the Galactic Council. They were supposed to help humans feel better after all the fighting and death. "You're my companion?" Jake asked. He closed the door behind him. "Yes. I am here to help you recover from the war. I am here to reduce your stress and make you feel better." Jake looked around his small apartment. There was only one bedroom, one bathroom, and this small living room with a tiny kitchen. Where would she sleep? What was she supposed to do exactly? "The government said you would come, but I thought maybe tomorrow or next week," Jake said. He put his tool bag down by the door. "I was brought here today. I have been waiting for you to return from work." Kira sat back down on the couch. She folded her hands in her lap. Jake noticed her fingers were longer than human fingers. Her nails were a darker blue than her skin. "Are you hungry?" Jake asked. "I don't have much food, but I can make something." "I do not require food at this time." "Thank you for asking." Jake went to the kitchen and got a bottle of water. He drank half of it while looking at Kira. She did not move much. She breathed slowly and watched him with those strange purple eyes. "So, what exactly do you do? As a companion, I mean." "I am here to provide comfort and support. I can listen if you want to talk about your experiences in the war. I can help you relax. I can reduce your stress in whatever way you prefer." The way she said the last part made Jake feel uncomfortable. He had heard other men at work talking about the companion program. They said the companions were very beautiful and very willing to do anything to make humans happy. They said the companions had no shame and no limits. Jake looked at Kira again. She was beautiful, but something felt wrong about the whole situation. "The instruction papers they gave me," Jake said. "They said your species doesn't really understand human customs about privacy and clothing." Kira tilted her head slightly. "What do you mean?" "Well, they said you might be more comfortable without—" Jake pointed at her robe. His face turned red. "They said your people don't really wear clothes normally." Kira was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "I prefer to keep my clothes on, Jake Martinez. I hope this is acceptable to you." Jake felt surprised. All the orientation videos and papers said the companions would do anything humans asked. They said the companions wanted to please humans more than anything else. "Of course, that's fine," Jake said quickly. "I just thought the papers said—" "The papers say many things. Not all of them are correct." Kira stood up and walked to the window. She looked out at the city. Many buildings were still broken from the war. Construction lights shone in the darkness as work crews tried to fix everything. "Your city was badly damaged," she said. "Yeah. The Zarathi hit us pretty hard. But we're tough. We'll build it all back, bigger and better than before." "Humans are very resilient," Kira said. "This is known throughout the galaxy. Is that why the Galactic Council decided to help us? Because we fought so hard?" Kira was quiet again. She turned away from the window and looked at Jake. For just a moment, he thought he saw sadness in her purple eyes. "Perhaps," she said. "There are many reasons why powerful beings make the choices they make." Jake finished his water and threw the bottle away. "Are you tired? I only have one bed, but the couch is actually pretty comfortable. I can sleep there and you can have the bedroom." "That is very kind, but I do not sleep the same way humans do. I can rest here on the couch." "Are you sure? I don't mind." "I am sure." Jake got some sheets and a pillow from his closet. He gave them to Kira. When their hands touched for a moment while he handed her the pillow, her skin felt cool but soft. "Thank you, Jake Martinez. You are very considerate. Just call me Jake. And thank you too, I guess, for being here, for helping." Jake went to his bedroom and closed the door. He sat on his bed and tried to understand what had just happened. The companion was nothing like what he expected. She seemed smart and independent. She had her own opinions. She wanted to keep her clothes on. Maybe that was good. Maybe she would be more like a friend than whatever the other men at work were describing. Jake had been lonely since the war ended. Most of his friends died fighting the Zerathi. A friend might be exactly what he needed, but something still felt wrong. The way Kira looked sad when she talked about the Galactic Council, the way she said the papers were not all correct, the way she seemed to choose her words very carefully. Jake changed into his sleeping clothes and brushed his teeth. When he came out of the bathroom, he could see Kira sitting on the couch in the dark. She was looking out the window again at the broken city. "Good night, Kira," he said softly. "Good night, Jake. Sleep well." Jake went to bed, but he did not sleep well. He kept thinking about his new companion and wondering what tomorrow would bring. Jake woke up to the smell of coffee. He had not made coffee before going to bed. He got dressed quickly and walked to the kitchen. Kira stood by the stove. She had found his old coffee maker and somehow made it work. Jake had been trying to fix that coffee maker for weeks. "Good morning, Jake. I hope you slept well." "Good morning. How did you get that thing to work?" "The heating element was disconnected. I repaired it." Jake looked at the coffee maker. The broken wire that he could never find was now connected with a small piece of metal. The fix was neat and professional. "You know about electronics?" "I know about many things." Kira poured coffee into 2 cups. She handed one to Jake. The coffee was perfect. Not too strong and not too weak. "Thank you. This is really good. You are welcome." They drank coffee together in silence for a few minutes. Jake kept looking at Kira. In the morning light, he could see that her silver hair had small sparkles in it like tiny stars. "I have to go to work soon," Jake said. "What will you do here all day?" "May I read your books?" Jake looked at his small bookshelf. He had maybe 20 books, mostly about engineering and history. "Sure, of course, but they're probably boring to you." "I do not think they will be boring." Jake finished his coffee and got ready for work. When he was about to leave, Kira walked over to him. "Jake, may I ask you a question?" "Yeah, sure." "What kind of work do you do?" "I fix starships, the ones that got damaged in the war. We're trying to get the defense fleet back to full strength." Kira's purple eyes got brighter. "That sounds very interesting. What kind of damage do you usually repair?" Jake was surprised. Most people found his work boring. "Well, mostly engine problems and hull breaches. Some electrical damage from energy, weapons. It's pretty technical stuff. I would like to hear more about it when you return home." Jake smiled. "Okay, I'll tell you all about it." When Jake came home that evening, Kira was reading one of his engineering books. She had read almost half of it. "How was your day?" she asked. "Pretty good. We got 2 more ships back online. How was yours?" "Very educational. Your book about quantum mechanics is fascinating." Jake sat down on the couch next to her. "You understand quantum mechanics?" "Some of it. The math is different from what I learned, but the concepts are similar." "What did you learn? I mean, before you came here?" Kira closed the book and looked at him. "I studied environmental science. I specialized in atmospheric composition and climate systems." Jake stared at her. You're a scientist? I was a scientist. Now I am a companion. Something about the way she said it made Jake feel sad. She sounded like someone who had lost something important. Tell me about the ships you repaired today, Kira said, changing the subject. Jake talked about his work. He explained the problems he had fixed and the challenges he faced. Kira listened carefully and asked smart questions. She understood technical concepts that most people found confusing. They talked for hours. Jake found himself telling her about the war, about the friends he lost, about the fear he felt when the Zarathi ships first appeared in the sky. Kira listened without judging him. She asked thoughtful questions that helped him think about his experiences in new ways. You carry a heavy burden, she said finally. Losing friends in war is very painful. Yeah, it is. But we won. That's what matters. Kira was quiet for a moment. Do you think winning always makes the pain worth it? Jake thought about that. I don't know. I hope so. The next few days followed the same pattern. Jake went to work, came home, and talked with Kira. She was interested in everything he did. She helped him understand some of his own feelings about the war and the rebuilding. But Jake also noticed things that bothered him. When he asked Kira about her home world, she became quiet. When he asked about her family, she changed the subject. When he asked about other Villani, she gave short answers. On Friday, Jake met his neighbor Pete Collins in the hallway. Pete was carrying groceries and looked very happy. Hey Jake, how's your companion working out? She's great, really smart and easy to talk to. Pete laughed. Smart? Who cares about smart? Mine does everything I ask, no questions. Best stress relief I've ever had, if you know what I mean. Jake felt uncomfortable. What do you mean? Come on, man. You know what these aliens are for. They exist to make us feel good. They don't have hang-ups like human women. They'll do anything. Kira's not like that. Really? Maybe yours is broken. You should call the service center, get a replacement. Jake felt angry. She's not broken. She's a person. Pete looked confused. A person? Jake, they're not people. They're basically very advanced pets. The government made that clear in all the briefings. After Pete left, Jake felt sick to his stomach. He went into his apartment and found Kira reading another book. Kira, can I ask you something? Of course. Are you happy here? Kira put down the book. She looked at him for a long time before answering. That is a complicated question. Why is it complicated? Because happiness requires choice, and I am not sure how much choice I have in this situation. Jake sat down across from her. What do you mean? Jake, what do you know about how I came to be here? The government said the Galactic Council offered companions to help humans recover from the war. They said your people volunteered because you're naturally good at helping others. Kira nodded slowly. And do you believe that? Jake thought about it. I'm starting to have doubts. Why? Because you don't act like someone who volunteered for this. You act like someone who had no choice. Kira's eyes filled with something that looked like tears, but Jake was not sure if her species could cry. You are very perceptive, Jake Martinez. Tell me the truth, please. Kira stood up and walked to the window. She looked out at the city lights for a long time. The truth is dangerous, she said finally, for both of us. I want to know anyway. Are you sure? Once you know, you cannot unknow it. Your life will become much more complicated. Jake joined her at the window. I'm sure. Kira turned to face him. I was not a volunteer, Jake. None of us were. We were selected, taken from our homes and families, brought here against our will. Jake felt like someone had punched him in the stomach. What? The companion program is not a gift to humanity. It is the beginning of something much worse. What do you mean? I mean that your species is being studied, evaluated, prepared for something that your government does not know about. Jake sat down hard on the couch. Are you saying we're in danger? I am saying that the war with the Zarathi was not the end of your troubles. It was just the beginning. Kira sat down next to him. Jake, there are things I must tell you. But first I need you to promise me something. What? Promise me that you will not contact the authorities about what I'm going to tell you. Promise me that you will be very careful who you trust. Jake looked into her purple eyes. He saw fear there, but also hope, I promise. Good. Because if you break that promise, we will both disappear and no one will ever find us. Kira sat quietly for several minutes. Jake could see she was thinking carefully about what to say next. 3 years ago, the Galactic Council came to my world, she began. They said they wanted to make a trade agreement with us. They said they could offer us new technology and protection from hostile species. That sounds reasonable, Jake said. It did to us too. We welcomed them. We showed them our cities, our culture, our technology. We thought we were making friends. Kira's voice became sad. But they were not interested in friendship. They were studying us, learning our weaknesses. Within 6 months, their warships surrounded our planet. Jake felt cold. They invaded you? They did not need to invade. They simply told our government that we now belong to the Galactic Council. Our leaders tried to resist, but the Council showed them what happened to worlds that refused to cooperate. What happened? Complete destruction. Every living thing killed. The planets left empty. Kira stood up and walked to Jake's bookshelf. She touched one of the books gently. So we surrendered. We had no choice. The Council divided us into categories. The strong ones became laborers. The smart ones became technicians and researchers. The ones they considered attractive became companions. Jake's stomach felt sick. How many of your people? Millions, scattered across hundreds of worlds. Most of us will never see our families again. But why? Why do they need companions for humans? Kira turned back to Jake. Because humans are different from other species the Council has conquered. You fight too hard. You resist too much. You do not give up easily. So they decided to try a different approach. Exactly. Instead of crushing you immediately after the HFY War, they decided to study you first. Learn how your minds work. Find your weaknesses. Jake thought about this. And the companions are spies. Some of us, yes. We are supposed to gather information about human psychology, military capabilities, social structures. We report this information to Council agents embedded in your government. But you haven't been doing that. Kira smiled slightly. No, I have not. Neither have many others. We give false information or no information at all. Isn't that dangerous for you? Very dangerous. Companions who refuse to cooperate are taken away for reconditioning. They come back different. Broken. They follow orders without question. Jake felt anger building inside him. This is slavery. Yes. But your people do not know this. They think we are willing participants. They think we enjoy our situation, like Pete thinks about his companion. Yes. And this makes some humans feel justified in treating us badly. They think we want to be used. Jake put his head in his hands. I need to do something about this. I need to tell someone. Tell who? The colonial administration believes the Council's lies. Your military leaders think the companion program is a reward for winning the war. Many of your citizens are happy with the arrangement. There has to be someone who will listen. Perhaps, but we must be very careful. The Council has agents everywhere. They monitor all communications. They watch for signs of resistance. Jake looked up at Kira. How do you know all this? Because I have been in contact with other companions. We have found ways to communicate without being detected. We share information and help each other when we can. How many companions are resisting? About half. The others are either too afraid or have been conditioned to obey. Jake stood up and began pacing around the room. There has to be a way to expose this, to warn people. There might be, but it would require human allies, people in positions of authority who would believe us and act on the information. Do you know of any? Kira nodded. There is a woman named Lisa Chen. She works in data analysis for colonial administration. She has been noticing irregularities in the companion program files. What kind of irregularities? Background information that does not match. Medical records that seem fabricated. Transport logs that show companions arriving from locations that officially do not exist. Jake felt a spark of hope. She's getting suspicious. Yes, and there are others. A doctor named Amy Foster who helped design the integration protocols. She's been asking questions about Villani biology that the council representatives cannot answer properly. Can we contact them? It is possible, but very risky. If the council discovers what we are doing, we will all be eliminated. Jake sat back down next to Kira. What happens if we do nothing? In approximately 6 months, the council will begin phase 2 of their plan. Which is what? Mass reconditioning of all humans. They have been developing a process to alter human brain chemistry, make you docile and obedient like they did to other species. Jake felt like the room was spinning. How? Through the companions. We are supposed to introduce subtle chemical agents into your water supply, your food, your air systems. The process will be gradual. Humans will slowly lose their will to resist. But you haven't been doing that either. No, and neither have the others who resist. But the obedient companions are following orders. The process has already begun in some areas. Jake jumped up. We have to stop this now. Jake, please calm down. Getting excited will not help. How can I be calm? My entire species is about to be enslaved. Kira walked over to him and gently took his hands. Her cool touch helped him focus. I understand your fear and anger. I felt the same way when my world was taken. But the only way to fight the council is through careful planning and coordination. Jake took deep breaths. What do we need to do? First, we need to contact the humans who are already suspicious. Build a network of resistance. Second, we need to gather evidence that proves what the council is really doing. Third, we need to find a way to communicate this information to your military leadership without the council's agents intercepting it. That sounds almost impossible. It will be very difficult. But Jake, I have seen what humans can accomplish when they work together. You defeated the Zarathi against impossible odds. You can defeat the council too. Why are you helping us? You could just keep your head down and stay safe. Kira's purple eyes looked directly into his. Because I have a daughter on my home world. She was only 8 years old when I was taken. If there is any chance that stopping the council might eventually free my people, I have to take it. Jake felt a new kind of respect for Kira. She was risking everything for a chance to see her child again. What about the other companions? Will they help? The ones who are resisting, yes, but we must be careful about which humans we approach. Not everyone will believe us. Some will think we are lying to cause trouble. And some will turn us in to the authorities. Exactly. Jake walked to his window and looked out at the city. Somewhere out there, other companions were secretly fighting against their captors. Somewhere out there, humans were beginning to suspect that their gift was actually a trap. When do we start? He asked. We already have, Kira said. By having this conversation, we have taken the first step. Jake turned back to her. I want you to know something. What is that? Whatever happens next, I'm going to do everything I can to help you get back to your daughter. For the first time since Jake met her, Kira smiled a real smile. Thank you, Jake. That means more to me than you know. And I want you to know something else. Yes? I think your daughter would be very proud of how brave her mother is. Kira's eyes filled with tears that she quickly wiped away. I hope someday I can tell her about the kind human who helped me fight for freedom. Jake walked over to his communication terminal. Let's start by trying to contact Lisa Chen. Jake, wait. What? Once we do this, there is no going back. Our lives will be in constant danger. Are you sure you want to take this risk? Jake thought about everything Kira had told him. He thought about his neighbors like Pete, who had no idea what was really happening. He thought about the millions of Villani who had been separated from their families. He thought about humanity, slowly losing its freedom without even knowing it, I'm sure, he said. Let's save both our species. Jake spent the next 3 days thinking about how to contact Lisa Chen safely. He could not just call her at work. The council agents might be monitoring government communications. He could not visit her office. That would look suspicious. Finally, Kira suggested a solution. Lisa Chen lives in Building 7 of the residential complex. She takes the same transport to work every morning at 7:30. You could accidentally meet her at the transport stop. How do you know her schedule? The companions talk to each other. We share information about humans who might be sympathetic to our situation. Jake felt worried. Are you sure it's safe to talk to other companions? We are very careful. We use coded language. We pretend to discuss human customs or entertainment. Anyone listening would think we are just sharing experiences about our assignments. On Thursday morning, Jake waited at the transport stop near Building 7. When Lisa Chen approached, he recognized her from photos in the Colonial Administration directory. She was a small woman with short black hair and intelligent eyes. Jake pretended to check his watch and looked frustrated. "Excuse me," he said to Lisa. "Do you know if the morning transport is running late?" Lisa looked at her own watch. "It should. Be here in 2 minutes. Are you new to this route?" "Yeah, I just moved to a different work shift. I'm Jake Martinez, by the way." "Lisa Chen. Nice to meet you." They rode the transport together. Jake made small talk about the weather and the reconstruction work. When they were almost at the city center, he took a chance. "Hey, you work for Colonial Administration, right? I've been having some questions about the companion program." Lisa's eyes became more alert. "What kind of questions?" "Well, my companion seems different from what the orientation materials described. She's very intelligent, has her own opinions about things. It's like she had a whole life before coming here." Lisa was quiet for a moment. "That's interesting. What's her background?" "She says she was an environmental scientist. She knows more about quantum mechanics than most humans I've met." The transport stopped at Lisa's station. She stood up to leave, but then turned back to Jake. "Would you like to meet for coffee sometime? I'd be interested to hear more about your companion's background." "Sure. How about tomorrow evening? There's a small cafe on 5th Street called Murphy's. I know the place." 7 o'clock? Perfect. That evening, Jake told Kira about his conversation with Lisa. "You did well," Kira said, "but we must be careful at the cafe. It is possible that council agents will be watching." "How will we know if someone is watching?" "I will come with you. I can identify council agents by their appearance and behavior. They try to look human, but they are not perfect at it. Is it safe for you to be seen with me in public?" "Companions are expected to accompany their humans sometimes. It will not seem unusual." The next evening, Jake and Kira arrived at Murphy's cafe early. They sat at a table where they could see the entire room. Kira quietly pointed out 2 men near the counter who made her nervous. "They are trying too hard to look casual," she whispered, "and they have not touched their coffee in 20 minutes. When Lisa arrived, she sat down with Jake and Kira. Her eyes widened when she got a close look at Kira. "Your companion is Villani, right?" "I've been studying the files on Villani biology. There are some inconsistencies in the official records." "What kind of inconsistencies?" Jake asked. Lisa glanced around the cafe nervously. "Maybe we should talk about this somewhere more private." One of the suspicious men near the counter stood up and began walking toward their table. Kira grabbed Jake's arm. "We need to leave. Now." They got up quickly and headed for the back exit. The man following them spoke into a small communication device. Jake heard him say, "Subjects are moving to secondary location." Once they were outside, Lisa led them through several back alleys to a small apartment building. "My friend owns this place," she said. "We can talk safely here." They climbed 3 flights of stairs to a small apartment. A woman with red hair opened the door. She looked surprised to see Kira. "Lisa, you didn't tell me you were bringing a Villani." "Amy, this is Jake Martinez and his companion Kira." "Jake, this is Dr. Amy Foster. She helped design the integration protocols for the companion program." Amy looked closely at Kira. You're not behaving like the other companions I've observed. That is because I am not following my conditioning, Kira said simply. Amy's mouth fell open. What do you mean, conditioning? Over the next 2 hours, Kira explained everything to Lisa and Amy. She told them about the conquest of her world, the slave markets, the spy network, and the planned chemical conditioning of humanity. Lisa looked sick. I knew something was wrong with the files, but I never imagined this. Amy was pacing around the room. This explains so many things. The medical data that didn't make sense, the behavioral patterns that seemed programmed rather than natural. You believe us? Jake asked. Unfortunately, yes, Amy said. I've been documenting irregularities for weeks. I was starting to suspect that the companions weren't voluntary participants. Lisa pulled out a data pad. I've been copying files from the Colonial Administration database. Transport records, communication logs, financial transfers. A lot of... It is encrypted, but some patterns are clear. She showed them a map with red dots scattered across human space. These are the locations where companions were delivered. But according to official records, these transport ships came from empty space. No planets, no space stations, nothing. Because the Volani homeworld is not listed in your star charts, Kira explained. The Council removed it from all databases after the conquest. Amy sat down heavily in a chair. How many other species has the Council conquered this way? Dozens, maybe hundreds. The process is always the same. Promise friendship and trade. Study the species, find their weaknesses, then enslave them using the method most likely to succeed. And for humans, they chose psychological manipulation instead of direct force, Jake said, because humans are too dangerous when united and angry. But if you can make them docile and compliant, they become easy to control. Lisa was typing on her datapad. I'm going to start copying everything I can access. Financial records, communication, logs, personnel files. We need evidence that proves the Council is lying. Be careful, Kira warned. If the Council agents detect unusual database activity, they will investigate. Amy looked at Kira thoughtfully. How many other companions are resisting like you? In this city? Maybe 15 out of 30 across the entire colony? Perhaps 200 out of 500. That's not very many. No, but it is enough to make a difference. We have been slowly sabotaging the chemical conditioning program. The process is behind schedule because many of us refuse to cooperate. Jake felt a spark of hope. So we still have time? Some time, yes. But not much. The Council is becoming impatient. They may decide to move to more direct methods soon. Lisa looked up from her datapad. What would more direct methods look like? Orbital bombardment of major population centers. Ground invasion by Council military forces. Mass executions of resistance leaders. The room became very quiet. Amy broke the silence. We need to contact the military. General Carter runs the Colonial Defense Force. If anyone would believe us and act on it, it would be him. How do we reach him without the Council agents intercepting our communications? Jake asked. Lisa smiled grimly. I have an idea, but it's going to be very dangerous. What is it? Amy asked. My ex-husband works in the General's communications office. He owes me a big favor. If I can get to him directly, he might be able to arrange a private meeting. Kira looked concerned. If the Council discovers what we are doing, they will not just eliminate us. They will accelerate their timeline for conquering humanity. Jake thought about this. So if we fail, things get worse faster. But if we do nothing, humanity gets enslaved anyway. Exactly. Amy stood up. Then we don't have a choice. We have to try. Lisa nodded. I can contact my ex-husband tomorrow. Set up a meeting for this weekend. What about the other companions? Jake asked Kira. Can they help us? Some of them, yes. There is a Volani named Zara, who is assigned to a man in the Colonial Security Office. She might be able to provide inside information. And there's Marcus Webb, Amy added. He's a communications specialist who's been asking questions about the companion program's data streams. Jake felt like they were finally making progress. So we have the beginning of a resistance network. A very small one, Lisa warned. And we're going up against an enemy that has conquered hundreds of worlds. Kira looked at each of them. But you are humans, and humans do not surrender easily. That is why the Council fears you. Amy smiled for the first time that evening. Then let's give them something to really be afraid of. As they prepared to leave, Kira pulled Jake aside. Are you sure you want to continue with this? Once we contact the military, there will be no way to go back to your normal life. Jake looked into her purple eyes. What normal life? Knowing what I know now, I could never just pretend everything is fine. Even if it means risking your life. Especially if it means risking my life. That's what humans do. We fight for what's right even when it's dangerous, Kira smiled. I am beginning to understand why the Council is so afraid of your species. Lisa's plan worked better than anyone expected. Her ex-husband arranged a secret meeting with General Carter for Sunday morning. The general met them in an abandoned warehouse outside the city. General Carter was a tall man with gray hair and suspicious eyes. He listened to their story without interrupting. When they finished, he was quiet for a long time. This is either the most important intelligence I've ever received, or you're all completely insane, he said finally. General, I can prove what we're telling you, Kira said. She pulled a small device from her robe. This is a communication unit that links me to the Council's command network. I have recordings of orders from Council agents. She activated the DOE device. Strange voices speaking an alien language filled the warehouse. Then the device translated the words into English. Phase 2. Conditioning must accelerate. Human resistance indicators are higher than expected. Begin direct chemical deployment in water systems immediately. General Carter's face went pale. When was this recorded? Yesterday evening, Kira said. Dear God, how much time do we have? According to our intelligence, they plan to begin mass deployment in 1 week, Amy said. The general paced around the warehouse. Even if I believe you, how do I convince the Colonial Council? Half of them think the companion program is the best thing that ever happened to humanity. Because half of them are probably being influenced by Council agents, Lisa said. I've been tracking communication patterns. Several Council members have been receiving regular visits from Galactic Council representatives. Show me. Lisa displayed her data on a portable screen. Financial transfers, meeting schedules, and communication. Logs created a clear pattern of influence. General Carter studied the information carefully. This is very convincing, but it's not enough to justify military action against the Galactic Council. What would be enough? Jake asked. Proof that they're actively attacking us. Evidence of the chemical conditioning program in action. Kira looked at the other companions who had joined their resistance network. We can provide that proof, but it will be very dangerous. What do you have in mind? Amy asked. The Council agents are meeting tomorrow night at a warehouse in the industrial district. They're planning to coordinate the chemical deployment. If we can record that meeting and capture samples of the chemicals, we would have undeniable proof. General, Carter nodded slowly. That could work, but how do we get close enough to record them without being detected? I can get us inside, Kira said. I still have access codes that work with Council security systems. They don't know I've been compromised. It's too dangerous, Jake said. If they catch you, they'll kill you. If we don't do this, they'll kill all of us eventually, along with everyone else on this planet. The general looked at his watch. I need 12 hours to prepare my response. If you can get me that evidence by tomorrow night, I can have the Colonial Defense Force ready to act. What kind of action? Amy asked. Immediate arrest of all suspected Council agents, seizure of all companion program facilities, and a direct challenge to the Galactic Council's authority in human space. That sounds like declaring war, Lisa said. It might be. But if what you're telling me is true, we're already at war. We just didn't know it. The next evening, Jake, Kira, and 2 other resistant companions approached the industrial warehouse. Kira's access code still worked, and they slipped inside through a maintenance entrance. The warehouse was full of containers marked with Galactic Council symbols. In the center of the building, a group of beings who looked almost human were gathered around a large table covered with maps and charts. Jake activated his recording device while Kira translated the alien conversation. Human resistance is stronger than anticipated. Direct conditioning through companions has failed in multiple sectors. Then we move to atmospheric deployment immediately. Mass chemical dispersal will begin tomorrow. What about the humans who become suspicious? Elimination squads are already in position. All companion program participants who might pose a threat will be removed. Jake felt cold. They were planning to kill everyone who had learned the truth. One of the beings pointed to a map of the city. These residential areas will be targeted first. We estimate 70% compliance within 48 hours. Kira grabbed Jake's arm and pointed to a stack of containers near the wall. Chemical canisters, she whispered. We need samples. While Jake continued recording, Kira crept over to the containers and carefully extracted small samples from several canisters. The liquid inside was clear, but had a strange shimmer to it. They were about to leave when one of the council agents looked directly at their hiding spot. Intruders detected. Activate security protocols. Alarms began blaring throughout the warehouse. Bright lights flooded the building. Jake and Kira ran for the exit, but metal barriers dropped from the ceiling, blocking their escape. This way, one of the other companions called. She led them through a maze of storage containers toward a side door. Council agents pursued them, firing energy weapons that left smoking holes in the concrete walls. They reached the exit just as Jake felt a burning pain in his shoulder. Jake! Kira caught him as he stumbled. I'm okay. Keep running. They made it to their transport vehicle and raced away from the warehouse. Behind them, council ships lifted off and began pursuing them through the city streets. Take us to the military base, Jake said, pressing his hand against his wounded shoulder. We have to get this evidence to the general. The chase continued through the city. Council ships fired energy weapons at their vehicle, missing by inches. Other companions had joined the pursuit, using stolen council vehicles to create confusion and provide cover. They reached the military base just as Jake lost consciousness from blood loss. When Jake woke up, he was in a military hospital bed. Kira was sitting next to him, still wearing her white robe but looking relieved. How long was I out? 2 days. The general acted immediately on the evidence we provided. The council agents have been arrested. The chemical canisters have been analyzed and confirmed as neural conditioning agents. Jake tried to sit up but felt dizzy. What about the other companions? All of them have been moved to protective custody. The Colonial Council has declared the companion program invalid and demanded the immediate withdrawal of all Galactic Council forces from human space. And the Galactic Council? Kira smiled. They tried to threaten humanity with their fleet. General Carter responded by destroying 3 of their ships and capturing 2 others. Jake felt amazed. We actually did it? You did it. Humans proved once again that they will not accept slavery, no matter how attractive the package. A doctor entered the room. Mr. Martinez, you're very lucky. The energy burn missed all vital organs. You should make a full recovery. After the doctor left, Jake looked at Kira seriously. What happens now? To you, I mean. The general has offered all Villani companions full citizenship in human space. We can stay here if we want, or we can try to return to our homeworlds. What do you want to do? Kira was quiet for a moment. I want to find my daughter. But I also want to help humanity prepare for whatever the Council tries next. Maybe you can do both. The Colonial Council is forming a new department to study alien threats. They need people who understand how the Council operates. And they need people who understand that not all aliens are enemies, Kira added. Jake reached out and took her hand. I want you to know something. What? These past weeks getting to know you, fighting alongside you. It's been the best thing that happened to me since the war ended. Kira squeezed his hand gently. For me as well, Jake. You showed me that some humans judge others by their character, not their species. So you'll stay? At least until we can find a way to get you back to your daughter? I will stay. But Jake, I need you to understand something. What? Whatever relationship we build together, it must be based on choice. Real choice. I have been a slave for 3 years. I need time to remember what freedom feels like. Jake nodded. I understand. And I want you to know that whether you choose to stay with me or not, I will always help you find your daughter. Kira's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. That means everything to me. A week later, Jake returned to work at the shipyard, but now he was working on a different kind of project. Instead of repairing damaged ships, he was helping to build new ones designed specifically to fight Galactic Council technology. Kira worked alongside him, using her scientific knowledge to help human engineers understand Council weapons and defenses. In the evenings, they worked together to help other Velani adapt to life as free beings. Some of the companions chose to return to space, hoping to find their families or their home worlds. Others decided to stay and build new lives in human space. A few, like Kira, chose to work with the Colonial Defense Force to prepare humanity for future threats. The Galactic Council tried twice more to establish control over human space. Both attempts failed. The first failed because humans were ready for them. The second failed because other alien species, inspired by humanity's example, began rebelling against Council control. 6 months after the warehouse raid, Jake and Kira received a message that changed everything. A human exploration ship had made contact with a group of Velani refugees hiding in an asteroid belt near their former home system. Among the refugees was a young girl named Vera,